How will the Mountaineers do in 2025, year one under Rich Rodriguez? Well, we use the help of College Football 26 to give us a little bit of an idea here today on Between the Years. Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Skylar Callan here with another episode of Between the Ears. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, we ask that you give us a like and subscribe to our channel here at West Virginia on SI. We've got a ton of stuff coming up here in the next few weeks with fall camp rapidly approaching. So we're going to be diving into different position previews. We're talking about different position battles, some players to watch. Yesterday, we talked about Cannon Katzer, West Virginia's secret weapon, if you will. So we're going to have some more videos like that catered to just one player. We'll talk some recruiting as well. And yes, I saw somebody in the in the comment section yesterday after the news broke about doing a breakdown on Sir Paul Jesus in Cleats Cheeks. Yes, we will have something like that coming your way here in the next few weeks as well before fall camp ramps up. So maybe that's something we do next week. We take a look at Jesus in Cleats and what may be the best and funniest name, with all due respect, in the future of all of college football, Sir Paul Cheeks. But to get an idea as to what this upcoming season will look like, I thought, hey, I've got College Football 26. That's like the only game I actually do play. So why not just put it through the ringer and let's see what this is going to shake out to be. So I did this before. I've actually already done an article that was simulated results of College Football 26, West Virginia's 2025 season. I did one simulation of it. And even when I was doing it, I was like, well, I mean, this isn't really an accurate representation because you just do one simulation. You could have anything happen, and that's not really going to tell you the full story. Some fans told me they wanted me to do some more simulations, pull all the data together, and that's what I was planning to do anyways. So here we go. This is what College Football 26 is telling us about the Mountaineers in 2025 through 25 simulations. So let's go ahead and take a look here at some of this. These are the 25 simulations. Now, I don't expect you to sit here and read through every single one of these, and I wouldn't expect you to want me to read through all of these myself. But there's a lot of 8 and 5s in here, as you can see, which we'll get to here in a minute when we go to the opponent by opponent breakdown. But there's one team in particular that West Virginia just had a really tough time with, and for a lot of unknown reasons, I don't understand it. A couple of simulations in, I started to think maybe this was a bad idea. But anyways, a lot of these simulations you see kind of in that 500 ballpark. There was 2 10-win seasons in the mix. So pretty much as you would expect. I think really most of the expectations for WVU this season is probably around that 6 to 7 win mark, maybe getting to 8. There's not a whole lot of under 500s here, so that's a good sign. There's a couple of 4 and 8s, a 5 and 7 in there. So it's about what you expect, and that's really what I wanted to get out of this, was to make sure that we get as close as a projection as we can. And I can't even remember the record of the one simulation I did. I think it may have been 7 and 5, or may have been 8 and 4, actually, now to think about it. But when you get this many simulations in, it kind of gives you a better idea as to what is more likely when you boil it all down, you average it all out. So let's go ahead and slide over to this next one. And this is where it's the opponents, or the record by opponent. And this is if you look at the that third opponent there, the Pitt game, I promise you this is what it told me. I 4 and 21 against Pitt. That is just absurd. For that to be the worst record against any team on this schedule blows my mind. And it's not just because it's Pitt, but Pitt's not that great. You have them at home, and there's also much better teams on this schedule that I figured West Virginia would have a much tougher time beating. And so to think that Pitt would be the one team that they would struggle against the most is really, I don't know if it's concerning. I don't know what you want to call it. It's baffling, is what it is. And this is the one where I think it was probably 9, 10 simulations in, and I'm like, my goodness, every time I was almost just anticipating it to be a loss. And I was starting to think maybe this was a bad idea because I don't think this is going to be accurate. Now, could West Virginia lose to Pitt this year? Absolutely. But to think that they can only beat them 4 out of 25 times is a little crazy to me. Now, the other stuff, if you want to look at here, Robert Morris, which was FCS East, obviously they're not in the game, so they're replaced by a generic FCS program. 25-0, as expected. WVU's never lost to an FCS opponent. Would imagine that would continue to be the same trend in 2025. Ohio 22-3, and this was one that I would kind of understand a little bit. This is a game that I think is going to be very tricky for West Virginia, and if you get caught looking ahead, you could trip up in Athens. And I know there's going to be a strong contingent of West Virginia fans there, but Ohio's not a bad team. They're scrappy. This is a big statement opportunity for them early on in the season. So losing a couple of those games or a few of those games here in the simulation, not all that surprising. Kansas, 5 games under. Utah +3. BYU -5. So I mean, you look at some of these other ones like UCF makes a ton of sense. 17-8. I don't think they're going to have much trouble against the Knights this year. TCU, I was really surprised with 16 wins. I mean, this is one of the better teams in the Big 12 Conference, I believe. So to think that they're going to have a more than better chance to win that game is surprising and also encouraging at the same time. The others, Colorado was a little bit of a shock to me. It's 12-13 against the Buffs at home. I mean, I figured West Virginia would probably win more games than they lose against them. That said, it really kind of does feel like a coin flip, especially if Caden Salter and that offense kind of get going. And I would assume they would by that point in the season. And then Arizona State and Texas Tech, not too good against those two teams. So, and then finally here, kind of a breakdown by the numbers. And this is what we get. So the best record, as we already mentioned, 10-3. The worst record, 4-8. And you see in parentheses the conference records of those years as well. Most common record was 8-5, which happened, I believe, 5 or 6 times. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was 5 or 6. One conference championship, one college football playoff appearance. And if you're curious, yes, West Virginia did lose in that first round game, and it was against Oregon. It was a blowout game. Don't remember the exact score, but it was like 52-17 or 16 or something like that. Wasn't close. So one and done in the playoff. 16 winning seasons out of 25. 3 years where they went 500. And in those 3 seasons, they didn't get a bowl game. So I'm assuming the computer or the game just said, hey, you go 6-6 with one of those being an FCS win, you're not going to a bowl game. So that's what that situation was there. And then, but in the bowl games, 12-4, pretty impressive. And a lot of those games were pretty one-sided. West Virginia was able to handle their business. I believe they beat Ohio State in one, Wisconsin in one. They lost to Liberty. They beat Air Force. There's a few other really big blowouts that was kind of surprising, but Rich Rod had him ready, baby. He had him ready in those bowl games, 12-4. It was a fun exercise. Don't get me wrong. It was a little time consuming, a little tedious. It was probably, I didn't really think about how much was going to go into this until I did it. I mean, yes, you technically just pick up your controller and hit a couple buttons and do it over and over and over again, but to pull all that data together and put it on paper and then try to sort out all the averages, do all the math. It was probably about almost a 3-hour process to get it all done, to type it up. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section here on YouTube and whether or not the simulation's right, wrong, whatever you think about it. Let me know your thoughts. Also, I wanted to throw this out there too, since we're on the topic of college football 26. I put this out the other day on my X account. We got a little bit of traction, but before I decide to go full force with it, I want to make sure that there's actually enough interest in it before I start doing it and realize it may be a waste of time. I'm thinking about doing a college football 26 dynasty where the fans can make key decisions, whether it's naming the head coach or picking the head coach, what teams we're going to play on the schedule from year to year, what uniforms they'll wear on every single game, whatever the case may be, what players to target, whatever. I'm going to consider doing something like that, doing the gameplay, putting it up here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI. If that's something you want to see, let me know in the comment section. If not, also let me know in the comment section. I want to know your opinion on this before I just start doing it and realize there's not the audience for it. I feel like there probably is. I see all these streamers everywhere that do it for other schools or other teams, and we're just college football fans that do rebuilds. This would be the similar thing, except for we're keeping it West Virginia centered, and we would do multiple seasons. So let me know what you guys think. And I know there's also going to be some people too, probably that are curious as to who won the Big 12 in those 25 simulations, who won the national championship, the Heisman, and all that stuff. Listen, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it took me almost 3 hours to do. If I included all that other stuff, it would have been even longer, pointless, because this is centered toward West Virginia. So some of you crazies out there, I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. It was too much. So hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll be back on Sunday with another episode of Between the Ears. It will be my Big 12 preseason power rankings. I'll give my explanation for where I have the Mountaineers in 2025. Thank you guys for tuning in, and this is another episode of BT.